Hi, I'm Dennis Phillips, and welcome to Everyday Reloading and Shooting. Alright, in today's video, I'm trying out some of my previous best loads that I was shooting with the Hornady 73 grain ELD match bullet or the 75 grain boat tail hollow point, and I'll be shooting the Speer 75 grain total metal jacket bullet. That's their 75 TMJ. It's like a full metal jacket, except that the back of that bullet is not open. The back, which is normally open on a full metal jacket, is completely enclosed in copper. So we will see how these shoot. And what I'm shooting here is I'm comparing this with some of my previous best loads. So here's a picture of the target, and I'll be shooting IMR 3031 powder at 21 grains, accurate 2460 at 22.8 grains, CFE 223 at 22.7 grains, accurate 2495 at 20.9 grains, and Varget at 22.5 grains. And so these are not rated based on velocity or the same charge weight. These are just some best loads that I've found previously in shooting, and I'm going to compare these and see how these previous best loads stack up against one another using this 75 grain TMJ bullet. All right? Alright, welcome back. Today I'm shooting previously recorded best loads for my 73 and 75 grain ELD match bullet shooting. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to compare 5 different powders, and these were taken from the best loads picture here. As mentioned, these are some of the best loads that I've recorded in my previous shooting. So we're going to test those today and see how they compare with each other. The velocities will all be different. The powders are different. The powder charge weights are different. But the fact is that they were some of my best loads, meaning they had the tightest groupings. So we're going to compare these. I'll shoot 5 Fouling shots, which are a different powder altogether. That's a accurate 2200 powder with a 73 grain ELD match bullet. So let's get started. Shooting at 100 yards, as always. You're welcome to enjoy the music while I fast forward through my shooting, or you can skip forward to the results. Interesting. Let's bring it in and take a look. Here's our fouling group. I started off here, adjusted it one click to the right, adjusted it to the right again, adjusted it to the right one last time. I actually did adjust it 1 or 2 clicks down, so these were my last shots here. Well, look at here at the IMR 3031 powder. That's got to be way under an inch, like maybe 0.8 of an inch, and that mean radius is going to be probably in the 2s or 3s. In Accurate 2460, we have a rectangle here with a cluster to the right. On the CFE 223, these 10 shots are pretty tight, but we've got a flyer out here that's going to throw the extreme spread off from there to there. But those 8 out of 10 shot really well right there. It looks like that could be 2 shots right there. On the Accurate 2495, I haven't had that powder for a long time. This was the last of a little bit remaining in a container, so I probably won't be shooting this again for a while. Although it shot pretty well. We've got a pretty tight group there, and 3 off to their self here and 1 here. But on 10 shots, that's not bad, I don't think. And then on the Varget powder, this was my very first shot, was up here at the top, and then it started to come down some, and then I think my last couple of shots were high on that. But anyway, we will take these home and measure them with the Hornady 4DOF Ballistics app using the group analysis function, and we will get back to you with the results. All right, welcome back. These are my results from the range today, and we are shooting my best loads comparison using a 75 grain TMJ bullet. And so we have shot 5 different powders: IMR 3031, Accurate 2460, CFE 223, Accurate 2495, and Varget. We've shot various charge weights on each of these because each of these has performed differently in the past, and each of these have shown to be pretty good loads. But we're going to go through these one by one and compare each one and see how we did. On the fouling group, I used something that I had previously loaded here, which was different altogether. It was a 75 grain Boattail hollow point bullet loaded with 20 grains of Accurate 2200. And my first shot on the fouling group was high and to the left. I adjusted the scope to the right. I shot a second shot here, a third shot here, moved it further to the right again, shot a fourth shot here, adjusted a click down, and shot a fifth shot here right next to that. All right, and so with that setting, we started out. And on each of these, as we go through the targets one by one, I'm going to show a screenshot from the Hornady Ballistics app from the group analysis up here in the upper right-hand corner, and in the lower left-hand corner of the screen down here by my big belly, I'm going to show an actual photograph of the target close up so you can see that. All right, the red X represents the average impact of all shots. So what the Hornady app does is it measures each of these and it figures out what is the average center, and then it measures from there to each one of these shots. It calculates an average of the radius from the average center of impact to each shot, and that gives you your mean radius. Well, on this particular group, we had 10 shots, and whenever you're shooting 10 shots, you can always expect those groups to open up. The more shots you fire, the more chance you have of getting a flyer, a bad trigger pull, improper breathing, whatever. But putting 10 shots on paper is going to give you a pretty good idea of how you and that rifle and that round are shooting. So here we're at 0.78 inches, which is really tight for a 10-shot group, and we had a mean radius of 0.30. And I look at that, the radius is half of a circle, and so if you double that, that gives me what I call a score, which would be like an average group size of 0.60 inches. So very tight on the IMR 3031 powder. We go to our next group, which is the Accurate 2460, and we're shooting 21/100ths of an inch to the right and 1.5 inches high, and here's your average center. We had an extreme spread of 1.58 inches, basically double our first group, and we had a mean radius of 0.51. So if you double that, that gives you an average group size of 102. So not terribly bad, not bad for hunting, but not good for precision target shooting either. Going on to our next group, we're shooting 22.7 grains of CFE 223 powder, and this is traveling just under 2,500 feet per second at 2467. Our average group was 0.40 inches from the left and 1.06 inches high. And so here's your group size here, and we had an extreme spread of 1.26 inches, but we had a mean radius of 0.40. And again, there's a flyer here. I remember this shot exactly. I remember that I rushed this one. I was focusing on my breathing. I would get the crosshair on the target in place. I would breathe. I would wait for that target to settle. I would breathe a second time, and I would take my shot. And I didn't breathe the second time on this one. I thought I was in place, and I rushed that shot. And if I had not pulled that one, then we've got a best 9 out of 10 at 0.98 inches. So not bad, 9 out of 10 shots under an inch at 100 yards. I think that's pretty decent. But with a mean radius of 0.40, you've got an average group size of 0.80. Our next group was accurate 2495 powder. We've got 20.9 grains of that loaded. It should be traveling 2,500 feet per second. We're shooting 1.56 inches high and almost an inch to the left at 0.93. So here's our average center of impact right here, and a nice little cluster of shots right here. And our group size, our average group size was 1.09, which is reasonably tight for 10 shots. And we have a mean radius of 0.39, which gives you an average group size of 0.78. And then on the Varget powder, again, we're shooting at 2,500 feet per second. This is 22.5 grains. We're shooting a third of an inch to the left of center and 1.69 inches high. And so we've got a extreme spread of 1.29 inches from here to here. And again, if you take out this flyer, you're going to have a best 9 out of 10 at 0.96 inches. So 9 out of 10 shots grouping just under an inch. You've got a mean radius of 0.39, which gives you an average group size of 0.78. So these last two groups shot pretty similarly, but the interesting thing here is that you've got a 109 extreme spread, but a 0.39 mean radius. Here you've got a 1.29 extreme spread and the same mean radius, 0.39. So how can the group be 0.2 of an inch wider but have the same mean radius? Well, that's because here on this second group, right here near the center, you've got like 4 rounds that are clustered really close together. And even though you've got one here that's a little further away and 3 here, you've got one here that's really tight plus 4 here. And the low average of those 4 shots are going to offset the high average of the shots that were further away. All right, so the winner here today is IMR 3031 at 21 grains of powder with a 75 grain Speer total metal jacket bullet. So this round, I believe, will do you well. You might even experiment with seating depth on that to get that even tighter. But those are my results for the day. I think you'll find that load to be effective, and so I definitely recommend that. All right, those are my results. I hope you found this information helpful. If you have any ideas, thoughts, or suggestions, or comments, or questions, please leave those below. I always try to interact with everybody that leaves a comment. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.